On today's episode of Mild to Wild Builds, it's where it all starts. So we're going to start with your ladder bar cross member. That's the most pivotal point of your hookup. It's where your ladder bars connect. This is the main connection point to your vehicle. So if you're square here and you're straight here, it'll go straight. You have adjustments with your heims, and that's where we're going to start. So welcome to Mild to Wild Builds. Thank you. Alright, so what we have here in front of us is the ladder bar cross member that we're going to cut the frame rail, the back section of the frame rail off. And when we do that, this will go between the frame rails, and then your new frame rails, which will be narrowed up, they'll go out the back. So what I've done so far is the rear end we're going to use is sitting right back here on the floor. And from the outside of the ladder bar bracket to outside of the ladder bar bracket was 26 inches. So we laid this out 22 inches. 22 inches. The frame rails are 26. 28 actually, outside to outside. So we have 22 inches here. So we measured up, found the center line of the cross member, and got our brackets set up here to where we're 22 inches here, and so we're like 21 and 22 there, and we are less than a 32nd there. So which is great. I mean, that's about as good as you're gonna get doing it on a table or just, you know, in general in the freehand world. So what we're going to do here, as you can see how the cross member, where this drops in, the turn that down so we can't hear it. It's making some noise in the background. But so here we have the bracket, and you can see that this ear is going to be in the way because of the way that where these ended up being is it's in the drop of the cross member itself. So we're going to cut this bottom ear section off right here. We'll do that with, you can do it with a grinder, you can do it with a bandsaw, whatever you have available to you. I'm going to use a bandsaw, but as you can see, or you can't. See if I can get you down here a little closer. Well, it's stuck on there good. So as you can see right there, if we don't cut this off, this little ear off, we can't get our bracket to line up. So when we cut that off, then we'll be able to line up our holes, and we'll make a little, ooh, that's loud. We'll make a little filler piece up top, maybe off of the piece that we have here, that'll fill in that gap, and we'll weld all that up. So I'm gonna go cut this off, and then I'll be right back. I'll do both of them at the same time, and then we'll set up get the welder set up, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we took these over to the portaband, and see how we cut that ear off. This should give us the room that we need to make sure our holes all line up. So what we're going to do is we got this kit, I believe came from Applied Racing Technologies. Came with everything, spacers, washers, the whole 9 yards. So I took one of the front rod ends, heim ends out of the ladder bar. We're going to use it as a spacer. And I actually might take both of them out That way you can get it good and square. Another thing that you want to do, and I don't know if I have a thin enough washer, we might just use this one, but you don't want to take your pieces, so you have your heim end here and you have your spacers, which gives you your gap on your bracket. You don't want to just take that as your end piece, so you want to make sure you have another washer, maybe not one quite as thick as this. I don't know if you can get that or not, because if you make it so that this is slammed together, you know, you have this and these are your spacers, this is everything you have, and you put this in there and you tighten all your bolts down, when you go to put this back together, you'll have paint in there, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it takes up just that little bit of space, and you'll have to fight these bushings to get in here. So let me take a look around the shop, see if I can find a spacer. It doesn't have to be an exact washer, and if we do the 2 bolts, you know, I'll see if I can find 2 of them, and we can do one side at a time as far as welding it up. Let me go see what I can find. I'll be right back. So we found this little piece of metal. Looks like it's a I don't know, a wrench of some type. Comes with one of them cheap kits. Bolt goes through there, goes through here. That'll give us the spacing that we need to keep from binding up. Might have to open one of them other ones up a little bit to do it all I want to do, depending on, yeah, might have to cut it as well. So this one works. So we're gonna run the bolt. We have a spacer. We have our bolt. You have your rod end. Then you have another spacer that goes on there. Slide that in like this. Yeah, and I think we will. See, look, there's a really large gap. I'll get you down there to show you that in a minute, and we'll figure out how to fill that in with something here shortly. I'm going to take this other rod end out, modify this so that it fits a little better, and then we'll put this spacer in there and put it on both pieces. That'll square up our bracketry and hold it in place. So let me go take care of that. I'll be right back. Alright, so we're going to take this rod end here out. I don't have the stuff here to enlarge that hole. Again, we haven't been here very long, and a lot of my other tools are at the shop. So, but again, that's kind of the purpose of these videos, is to prove that you can do these things in a small garage without super high-end tools. I mean, so far, mostly everything that I've used came from Harbor Freight. And again, you can do these things with practically, you know, little tools. You know, not a lot of money invested in the tooling itself, which makes it nice for you. And if you decide to do another one or more, and you know, scour Marketplace, you can find really good deals on really nice equipment. And again, you know, the equipment makes the job easier, doesn't always make it nicer. I mean, you could have really expensive equipment and not know how to use it, and it doesn't make you have a nice product. So just remember, you can do anything with that you put your mind to, and you know, if you never try, you never know. So all you can do is try, and this is, remember, it's just metal. You can always fix it, put on a different piece, re-weld it back together, try it again. You know, whatever. You can just keep plugging away at it. It's not, race cars aren't rocket science. So, which I'm not sure rocket scientists are rocket scientists anymore, so. But hey, like I said, the main thing is just to get out and try it. You know, there's always guys out there that are you know, that are more than willing to help. If you just ask, a lot of the, especially if you find like a local chassis guy, some guy like that was like myself, that did it on the side, then you can, they'd be more willing to help you. Or if you're gonna get to a place where you can't do it yourself and you get a hold of one of those guys, they might be willing to let you come in and help. And that way you get the experience of doing it. And just don't expect the price break, because those guys are still trying to make a living, and it gives you the experience of being involved with your car. So just remember that. Always ask for help if you can. And the little guy who's doing this on the side, that's trying to put a name out there for himself or pay for his own racing, you remember, it's taking time away from their family to build your stuff, and they do have a life. So it might take a little longer, but the price is going to reflect that. So just remember that when you go asking the local chassis guy for help. Let me go do some trimming on this. We'll get this fitted up. So we cut the end out of this thing to make it kind of like a fork, being as I couldn't find the right one that I needed to open it up. So that worked out really well. It slides right over the bolt, pretty tight. I think I might cut the end of this one off too, and that way we can slide it between these two bolts. And remember, hang on to these. You never know when you're going to do another one of these cars. Your first one is just your first one. You might always have a second. Alright, so let's see what we can do here. So this will slide in here. Maybe. Slide over that. And slide in here. Give us a space to hold that on to. Generally you want to use not a nylock, because you have the tendency to they like to use these one time. Again, I don't have the other ones, so we do what we do. And in the end of the day, when I'm on the final nut and bolt, you can always buy a new one. This is also going to give me the idea of how close that I can make my frame rail connection point. So, because it's going to go right here, that's just off of this bracket. You'll have your nuts there. Don't mess up and get your bolts put in the other way. Otherwise, you're not getting them back out. That'll give us the idea where we need, how close we can get our frame rail. That'll give us our outside to outside measurement. And then we'll be cutting some cross pieces on when we go to stand up and put the frame rails together to hold everything together, square. This will be attached to it. And then we can figure out where we need to cut the truck and where we can slide this piece into. So let me get a wrench. We'll get this tightened up. And we'll get the welder set up. Beautiful. Go back here underneath the old Firebird and grab a ratchet. One day we'll take a tour of what all's sitting in here and where it's going to go and what we hope they run, blah 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 blah. But whenever you guys watch this, whenever Casey gets it put out, I guess they say like, share, and subscribe. That'll help us make this thing grow, which would be greatly appreciated. I mean, the whole purpose of this is to teach and get everybody off the couch, I guess essentially would be the best way to put it. Proper tool for the job, of course. But we we need your input. What do you want to see more? What do I need to do differently? I mean, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just out here winging this. I know how to build cars, but I don't know how to video myself. I'm sure there's people out there that'll question me actually building cars too, so, but hey. Get this tightened up. Like I said, we'll show you get the welder set up, and we'll go from there. Ran into that nylock portion, kind of slow things down a little bit. Alright, I have all that on there. Switch back to the old trusty phone. Try to get this tightened up. And then we'll show you what we got for a fit up here. Shoo, steel toe shoes. A little bit nice. We don't have them. It's fine. My safety guy that will hopefully watch this and get all kinds of great input back from him. But at this point, he should know that I don't listen to him anyways. All three of the boys out there running around playing in the yard. Mr. Maverick, everybody should know him. He's the bigger of the three. He's a 2.5, I believe, year-old mini Australian Shepherd. Then you got Doc. He is about 4 months old, somewhere around that range. He's our pup. Then you got Carlos, a little Chihuahua. Most people wouldn't expect me to have a Chihuahua, and to be honest, I wouldn't either. But it's pretty cool. He was given to me by my stepson. Well, actually, he gave him to my daughter, and then she decided having a kid and a puppy or a dog was a little much, so I wound up with him. Pretty cool little dude. He's got a pretty awesome story. He apparently spent 3 to 4 years on the streets of San Antonio, Texas. So for a little dude, he's pretty strong. Got some street smarts. So he's not your normal Chihuahua. He doesn't yap and bark, at least not all the time. He does still have a little bit of the Napoleon complex. But, I mean, in all honesty, he's got to be a pretty badass little dude to live on the streets. So, anywho, that's just a little side note. So, as you can see, we put the little spacer in there. Back this thing up a little bit. So, we got our little spacer in here. Takes up that gap. We weld this bracket on. We'll weld it here, along here. And then we'll make a filler piece for this. For this piece right here, we'll make a little filler. And what I did on the first bracket, and sometimes you forget to do this, sometimes you don't. I mean, it's just, things happen. But I welded this one, it's welded all the way around. So that'll give you your strongest point. So you get this one welded all the way around. You're not going to be able, if you wire feed, which, I mean, my eyesight's going away, and I got the shakes really bad, so my welds aren't as pretty as they used to be. And still trying to figure out this little Vulcan ProTig 205. Again, it doesn't take super expensive tools. That little welder there will weld aluminum, everything you want to do, if you know how to TIG, or if you want to learn how to TIG. It does really good job. But anyways, so we got this all welded on. This piece is the same way. So when you bolt this together like this, it squares both brackets together. You have your spacing. Then when you weld this up, like I said, we'll weld this side, weld it all the way around as far in as we can get it with the TIG welder. And then that's pretty much your best bet. If you're, like I said, if you were wire feeding, and maybe if we get our wire feed set up in the end, we'll go inside there and weld them up. I've done them several times where you just weld the outside and you come around here and you weld as far up on the inside on both of them, and you know, haven't had any issues. So, but the more welds you can get on it, the more structural it'll be. And you got to think about it as this is the point of the whole thing. It's going to take the power. This is where everything the rear end tries to do to make move, it's attached to the truck. That's what's going to transfer the power forward. So if any of this flexes, any changes that you make in the rear of the truck, shock wise, suspension wise, pickup points, those changes aren't going to be as effective because of something flexing. And we'll try to triangulate this the best we can, and we'll go through all that when we get there. But so as you can see, this is all squared up. When you bolt everything together, the faces pull it square. So now our holes are straight. We have our center to centers. We're good there. So I'll get the welder turned on, and we'll see what we can do for sparks. All right. Well, we didn't get as far as we wanted to today on the build. We was hoping that we get this all squared up, leveled up, get this back section cut off, actually get it into place. So that happens. Everything takes a little longer than you anticipate, and you'll get there. I mean, you get there. Just take your time. This is it's a big portion of it. It'll look like you got a whole bunch done, but it also takes a lot of time and is very critical that it's square and plumb and everything in the truck or your car or whatever. This is literally the backbone. This is where it begins, and so this is the most important part to get you going where you're going straight and the truck looks right, everything sits good. This is the backbone. So take your time, make sure it's nice and square, and hopefully next week we'll get her installed in the truck. So get her up in there. Start mocking up get the bed over here. The bed's at the shop, so we'll get it to the house, get it trimmed out, set it on there, maybe set some wheels underneath of it, see what it looks like. So thank you guys for watching. It's much appreciated. First video did very well. Casey and I are very satisfied. We hope the channel grows substantially. Her and I have actually really enjoyed doing this, working together. It's been a lot of fun. So, as always, like, subscribe, share, anything you can do. Tell all your friends. Like I said, thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.